House of X #2 came out today, and I had every intention of reviewing that. I had some like Mrs. Apocalypse fan art all lined up I wanted to do, and I might still do that in the future. But just as I was about to get started on that, I saw this additional news for the Rob Liefeld Youngblood situation with Scott Rosenberg and Andrew Rev, and I just got to talk about that. There's so much going on there. It's such an insane situation. I'm really going to focus today on Andrew Rev's part in all this because he has revealed through a couple different news outlets. There was an interview with him on the Comics Beat as well as with Rich Johnston at bleedingcool.com, where Andrew Rev is talking about his new publishing shingle, Terrific Comics. And a couple people, including Liefeld, have been retweeting the man on Twitter, of course. So I took a look at his timeline. He started July 22nd, around when San Diego Comic-Con was going on, or right before it started, I guess. And these tweets, let's just go through his timeline, because I don't really know how to describe this. He starts with, on July 22nd, here's a riddle. Terrific Productions LLC, if you want to follow him. It's the Terrific Age. This is the Terrific Age, of course. But first tweet, here is a riddle. She's green as the sea and has been away but not forgotten. She works alone or part of a team of 4. Of the 4, she might be the one that fans most adore. Alive or dead, she is coming back stronger than a heart attack. Oh, I have no idea who he's talking about. I assume it's one of the Elementals, because if you didn't know, part of the story here is that Andrew Rev was the former owner of Comico Comics back in the 90s, which published Elementals with art by Bill Willingham. And I don't know much else about that title. I know that Terrific now has been applying or reapplying for trademarks for characters they own. And that includes Elemental character names such as Monolith, and I don't even know the rest. But Fathom is one that they could not reapply for because Aspen Entertainment, of course, has been putting out Fathom comics for almost a couple decades now. But anyway, keep on going with Andrew's timeline. And again, if you need to be caught up more to speed with the whole Youngblood publishing situation, I got another video on that. I'll link it at the end of this one, or just go back and check my channel. It's right there. Rob Liefeld leaves Youngblood. But Andrew Rev, as Terrific Comics, is now in charge of Youngblood without Liefeld's involvement at all. But that kind of becomes clear. We go through the timeline. What else we got here? Did anyone else notice that Marvel now is almost 50% of the comic books sold in comic book shops? Deep thoughts from Andrew Rev. Next one, we are hiring 10 freelance comic book artists and 5 writers. If you are a good friend, retweet. So I guess, aspiring artists who don't mind scabbing, don't mind crossing the picket line. Rob Liefeld, I'm sure, would prefer that if he's not running Youngblood, no one else come and pick up the torch or the baton without his permission. I mean, I can't speak for him, but I can't imagine he'd be happy with that. But still, artist, another tweet. An artist we would hire to do covers, just so you know. They would hire these guys. Jim Lee, sure. Art Germ, Adam Hughes, spelled Hugees, so I guess Hughes. Simon Bisley, Art Adams, Tim Vigil, Robert Liefeld, Todd McFarlane. Rob, good to know. They'll still hire you. This is honestly I'm at a loss for words. It's hilarious, is what it is. Keeping it going. Almost forgot Greg Capullo. They'd hire him too, who I spoke to while he was signing the latest graphic novel of Batman. He's very thankful for his success. I hate buying books from whiners. Greg is great. Well, he's right. Greg is great. I met him too. He's a great guy. This next tweet leads me into my art for today. Who is stronger, Monolith of the Elementals or Badrock of Youngblood? I would pay to see the two fight to the finish. He did end up paying. He owns both those characters now, and that's what I'm drawing today. I guess a version of that fight. Monolith on the right fighting Badrock of Youngblood on the left. Who would win? Let me know in the comments below. Who's your money on? Let's see what else we got here. Terrific has plans in 2019 to publish comic titles that Image Comics creators have not been actively publishing. This is a subtweet. This is what we call a subtweet. He's talking about Rob. He's not mentioning Rob by name, which is also part of the Bleeding Cool interview. He refused, or the Comics Beat interview, excuse me. He refused to identify Rob by name. He wouldn't say Rob's name. He would just say, quote, that fat cat creator. Rough. It's rough. Does anyone see the resemblance? Another tweet. Does anyone see the resemblance between Rob Liefeld and Luke Skywalker? You know what I have noticed that. This is an interesting one. Does anyone know who is the richest man in comics? Is it Todd McFarlane? Is it Robert Kirkman? I'm going to stop you there. It's Todd McFarlane. It's Todd McFarlane by a country mile. Another tweet from Terrific Comics. Exciting news for retailers out there. Quote, comic book retailers, follow us. 1, we will list a photo of your store. 2, give you advanced comic book news. Very nice. Can't beat that. Let's see. Another tweet. We select a large number of our comic book artists from those pencilers, inkers, colorists, letterers, graphic artists, writers, 3D sculptors, game designers that follow us because we know they already understand our comic book culture. When you follow us, it increase your chance. So, I don't know. I'm gonna level with you. I have not followed Terrific Comics LLC. Increasing my chances of being hired or not, it's the whole situation. At this point, I'm willing to be on the sidelines and just look in. I'm not saying they would hire me even if I threw my hat into the ring, but it's just like watching, not quite a train wreck, not quite a car crash, but it's definitely something. I'm having some rubberneck situation. Like, I just slow down and just stare at this whole thing. Another riddle from Terrific Comics. Riddle me this. It's a million seller it's Youngblood. Sorry, that's the answer. It's the first book with an image. Sick. It's written by the guy who predicted the death of DC before global warming takes the world in 12 years. It's Youngblood. This is wild. These subtweets are wild. Riddle me this. What does MVMF stand for? IQ test. Well, okay. Well, I failed this IQ test. I hadn't seen this yet. So if you know MVMF, I hope it's not dirty. Let's see. Did you ever want to work on a comic that is known by 1 million? Did you ever want to try to write for a comic that was written by Kirkman, Mark Miller, Alan Moore? It's more Youngblood subtweets. I don't know why I won't just say Youngblood. And even more tweets from the terrific age of comics. Terrific Comics, LLC. Not a lot of liability. Quote, if you are an artist that recently lost his penciling job because DC decreased their titles to just 50, then contact us. We are launching the Terrific Age with major superhero titles. Artists that sell 100,000 copies of their first issue get a trip to Singapore. Enjoy Star Wars. I guess they have Star Wars in Singapore. You know, I can't quite follow the train of thought for all these, but I'll never not be entertained, I'll tell you that. Artist with exceptional intelligence. Continue the list. Number 1, Jim Lee. True. Number 2, Brian Azzarello. I believe that's the case. 3, question mark, 4, question mark. So, another opportunity for comments below. Who do you think are the most intelligent people in comics? It depends on how you quantify intelligence, of course. If we just go by success, I'd have to give it to Todd McFarlane again. In terms of what actually getting like Mensa numbers on an IQ test, who would I give that to? Who do I think that I've met is super? I guess Jim Lee again. Jim Lee, I'd give it to. A lot of the Image guys, though, the founders, I think they're smart cats. Let's see. Check out the Go-Go Power Rangers podcast. Strange tangent, weird curve there, but all right. Shout out to new followers, and then he's got a photo of him with Stan Lee in Hawaii. Rest in peace, Stan. Another promise. If you go to work for Terrific, this is a good one. Top artist every 12 issues with sales of over 40,000 copies a month gets 2 weeks paid hotel and food by the sea. What sea? Sell those comics and you'll find out. I'll wrap up this discussion of Terrific Productions timeline with a couple tweets where they tweet out what their opinions are on creator rights. Skipping to number 2. A creator who intentionally sells their creation should have no expectation to be able to control their prior characters. Ouch. Now that's a subtweet burn. Number 3, a publisher who acquires rights from a third party who has no legal restriction to involve the creator who sold the characters should try to involve the creator, but the creator cannot have final say. Again, more subtweets on Liefeld and Youngblood. It's like, look, it's not my fault, Rob, that you sold Youngblood to Scott Rosenberg and RIP Media and Platinum Studios, and now we bought it from them and now we're making Youngblood comics. Don't blame us. Number 4, Terrific offers creators that sold their property to a third party the opportunity to draw covers, draw pages, write stories, and suggest ideas. Rob. It doesn't say Rob, but you get the point. The subtweets here are fierce. And let's see, number 7, we at Terrific do not knowingly acquire rights that a creator still owns from any third party. You don't own it, we own it. We bought it from someone else. Anyway, it's brutal, but what do you guys think? Is Terrific Comics ever going to actually publish anything, or will it just continue this stream of strange subtweets towards Rob Liefeld for the next however long? Will we ever see Youngblood comics in the shops again? And if we do, would you buy them without Rob Liefeld's participation? I'm curious to know. If you like this video, as always, please leave a like. If you're an artist yourself, keep at it. You got to practice drawing every day. So until next time, keep drawing.